friend.
Oh, my goodness. I had no idea.
Good to see you. I had come up with a couple of questions I was curious
Wait, can
about.
I first comment on those beautiful glasses you're wearing?
Okay, look, because they're pink and striped like candy canes, because I had a bunch of black ones that I bought for $1 at the dollar store, and I actually had an original pair that was like a $10 pair, and Turtle took every single one of them, wore them,
so those are protector
lost them,
pairs.
or broke them.
Yeah.
This pair, 6 months, not touched, sitting right there. Plain sight. So,
Good work in there. I like that.
to recover loss, can you insure for more, or is that suspicious? Like if my wife, was all of a sudden jacked up to like $5 million for any auto accident incident that should occur, and they find out I had weird faulty brakes. Like, does that seem suspicious, and is that possible?
Man, I needed more sips of my coffee before I came in this morning. I knew I should have.
Limited time here.
Oh, okay. The kicker here is that you can't have $5 million in liability on an auto policy. You can on an umbrella policy. But, yeah, I mean, there's certain things that companies don't just blindly go, yeah, here you go. Have a great day.
You say that, but I almost feel like there's a lot of people that, as long as they're getting theirs, they don't care.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're going to look at it a little bit. If you're raising your life insurance, if you're buying a brand new $2 million life insurance for hubby, and now hubby's gone, there's things that
somebody might come knocking at your door.
They might want to just ask a couple of questions.
Why don't they put people in jail for not being insured? Like, if that's a law, is that a law, or is that just a guideline that we go by? Because if it's a law, why don't they actually arrest people for that?
I'm licensed in Vermont and New Hampshire, so let's talk about Vermont and New Hampshire. Vermont is a requirement that you must carry at least what the state has decided is minimum liability coverage to be driving on the road. And that minimum liability is $25,000 bodily injury per person, $50,000 bodily injury per accident, with a $10,000 limit for property damage. That is the minimum that you must carry to be able to legally drive. If you are caught without that, you don't go to jail. I'm sure there's fines involved. There's, of course, some violations and things like that. But then the harder part for you really is trying to obtain insurance, because now you got to carry a financial responsibility filing. Most people call that an SR22, where you now have to maintain insurance for a period of 3 years with no lapse, no gaps, no dropped coverage, and proof of that coverage goes to the state every year.
Now, as far as lapse and gaps, as you were just saying, if I switch from one to another, and there is weeks or maybe even a month in there.
If you have a financial responsibility filing, you start back at zero. So you are back at the beginning of a 3-year process to provide the state proof that you have maintained insurance with no gaps. Now, let's go to New Hampshire real quick before we move on to the next line that you have there.
Before you get to New Hampshire.
Sure.
My only question about people that don't have insurance is, let's just talk ballpark. I know that a lot of people are just, well, you have to variables. But let's take the average guy, has a pickup truck. He's 25 years old.
Sure.
Okay. State minimum, what is that a month in the ballpark?
So a lot of it, of course, as you well know, weighs heavily on history. So
let's just say
violations, accidents, if you have nothing, you're probably looking at, as a 25-year-old, maybe $40, $50, $60 a month on the low end, $100 a month or more on the high end.
So any fella, 25 years old, who's got himself a pickup truck, probably buys 2 drinks a day. That's $60.
Yeah, there you go.
With a coffee and afternoon, soda pop or whatever. A couple packs of smokes.
How about one less energy drink a day?
Right. That right there. I mean, they're like $3. I don't drink them myself.
I don't either. No.
I've
Do
had
I look like I have energy?
I've tried this new drink. So
the 3-second high is pretty awesome, but the crash lasts about 8 hours.
Speaking of crash, we're in New Hampshire now.
Oh, we're in New Hampshire, yes. So in New Hampshire, it's not legally a legal requirement that you maintain insurance.
Okay.
So it's the live free or die state.
You're going to go over there and say, okay, I'm a resident here for a couple of weeks. Now I'm going to move back to Vermont. No, I had insurance the whole time, but I wasn't required.
I love that you brought that up.
I'm trying to jump through a loophole here, and I'm sure somebody else has tried it.
I know. So in New Hampshire, there are certain triggers that will require that you maintain insurance, such as if you've been in an accident or have a violation, things like that. But there are ways for you not to have to maintain insurance on your automobile in New Hampshire.
Now, they tell you this, right? I mean, like, if you didn't tell me this right now, I wouldn't have any clue.
Yeah.
I would ask about it if something should incur. But at the time that incidents would come down or
The
go
DMV
down,
likes to tell you what's up.
A DMV would actually, they'd send me a, like, hey, by
you
the
receive
way.
some kind of notice, I'm sure.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't done a lot with people who were uninsured in New Hampshire, so I'm not all... I'm an insurance guy, so I know
think
the
you should
insurance.
start asking,
not the non-insurance.
the people that you insure, if they get, like, if they do boo-boos, you should be like, can I get a copy of that? And just have, like, just black out the people's names and be like, oh, yeah, you think you're bad? Check this one out.
Yeah. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
I think so.
So in New Hampshire, though, if you are one of those folks driving with no insurance and you go, I'm going to cut over to Vermont for a little while. Don't do that. Because Vermont requires you to have insurance to be on the road. So now you are in violation, even though your state says you don't have to have insurance.
Once
and
you
aren't.
cross the
Once you're
bridge.
crossing into a state that does, you're under their laws. And the same is true for when you have auto insurance. When you're driving a car in Vermont and you are licensed in Vermont and registered in Vermont and insured in Vermont, and you drive to New York or Massachusetts, two states called no-fault states, the way insurance works is always going to comply with the state that you are in where the incident occurs.
Yep.
So no insurance, it's 0 times what is still 0. No
State.
insurance times other state is still no insurance.
State is like a gambling casino. House always wins. DMV, same thing.
House always wins.
House always wins.
House always wins. And they will comp you a night. You just won't like the accommodations. And there are free meals, too.
Is this continental? Yeah.
This is the best bread and water I've had.
Idaho and Michigan. That's around the globe. So Mike Bear at Bear Insurance Agency, as he joins us about 10 to 8 every Wednesday.
By the way, I used to play a trumpet when I was good, in high school.
Yeah?
I was not a great player, but if I was, would I have been a horn star? I heard that stupid song you played a little while ago.
Wow, that was so bad that I didn't even give it a bell. Okay, maybe
maybe half a bell.
there you go.
Half a bell.
So no, you're not going to get the golden buzzer. If they would like to find out more about your real job at insurance,
It's not a comedian, thank goodness, because I make no money. You can give us a call. Barrett Insurance. We're on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Our phone number is 748-5224. Visit us online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube, where we put all these lovely conversations. Just look for Barrett Insurance.
TTFN.
Yes, sir.
The world never stops. It's constantly changing, evolving, moving forward. And so are we. Introducing Spectrum Mobile. Built on America's largest and most reliable